You know that feeling, right? You've spent ages getting that Tamiya RC part painted just perfectly. Then you snip it off the sprue, and that tiny glaring white spot, it just ruins the look, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a tiny billboard advertising the sprue attachment point.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a deep dive. We want to turn that frustration into, well, a kind of masterclass in getting that perfect finish.
That's the plan. Because look, achieving that flawless look isn't some secret handshake or magic potion. It's really about a system, a methodology built on patience, and honestly, just good preparation.
Okay.
So we're going to break down the whole process, start to finish.
Yeah.
You know, from making that very first cut off the sprue right through to the final clear coat.
All right, let's unpack that. The first big fork in the road for a lot of modelers seems to be paint on the sprue or paint off the sprue. Painting on the sprue just feels faster sometimes, you know. Spray the whole tray.
Feels faster, yeah. And that's the appeal. But from a professional standpoint, it's really fighting against quality.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you paint on the sprue, you have to clean up mold lines and the attachment point after painting. So you're scraping away your fresh paint.
Ah, right. Damage control from the start.
Exactly. Plus, plastic cement doesn't bond properly to paint. It needs bare plastic, so your joints are weaker. And, of course, it directly causes that white spot because the attachment point never got painted.
Okay. Point taken. Off-Sprue it is.
Pretty much. A meticulous off-sprue approach, maybe a hybrid for tiny bits sometimes, but mostly off-sprue is the way for quality.
So if we're going off-Sprue, how vital is that very first cut? Seems simple, but...
It's super critical. This is where things can go wrong immediately. Twisting parts off, big no-no. Using a dull craft knife that just chews the plastic, also bad.
The tools matter here.
Absolutely. You need good tools. Sharp, high-quality flush-cutting side cutters, sprue nippers, as they're called, or maybe a razor saw for really fine, delicate parts. And the technique, use the two-cut method with nippers.
Two cuts. Explain that.
Okay, first cut. Snip the part off the runner, but leave a little stub, maybe a few millimeters. Don't cut flush yet.
Right.
Then the second cut. Lay the flat side of your nippers right against the part surface and snip off that remaining stub. This puts way less stress on the plastic. After that, it's cleanup. Carefully shave any tiny remainder with a sharp hobby knife, then sand progressively. Maybe start with 400 grit, then 600, 800, even 1200 grit for mold lines or that nub area. Get it perfectly smooth.
Wow, okay. That's meticulous. So the part is cut, sanded smooth. What's next before paint?
Wash it. Seriously, don't skip this. Mold release agents from the factory, dust from sanding, oils from your fingers, all that stuff will ruin your paint job.
The dreaded fingerprint under the clear coat.
Exactly. So just simple warm water, a drop or two of mild dish soap, gently scrub with an old soft toothbrush, rinse really well, and let it air dry completely. No touching.
Okay, clean and prepped. Now, how do you actually hold these little bits while painting?
Good question. You need a secure grip. Poster tack, blue tack, or something similar on the end of a skewer or stick works great for smaller parts. So you get all angles.
Right.
Alligator clips on skewers are also popular, especially if there's a spot that won't be seen where you can clip it. For heavier parts, or if you absolutely need to paint every single surface, sometimes you have to pin it. Drill a tiny hole in a hidden spot, insert a bit of brass rod or a paper clip, and hold that.
Makes sense. Okay, let's talk paint. Tamiya's got a few types, right? Acrylics, lacquers. What's the key difference we need to know?
Right. Tamiya's acrylics, the X and XF taints, are actually alcohol-based hybrids. Key thing. A fresh coat can redissolve the layer underneath if you're not careful. That catches people out.
Okay, and lacquers, like the spray cans, TS and AS.
Those and the LP bottled ones are lacquers. They're hotter, meaning stronger solvents. They cure very hard, very durable. Great finishes, but you need good ventilation. Enamels, well, they dry slow. It's good for hand brushing or effects maybe.
And primer. You mentioned prep, but primer itself, is it really necessary?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely essential. Primer is the unsung hero. It does three crucial things. One, adhesion. It lightly etches the plastic, giving the paint something to really bite into.
Okay.
Two, flaw detection. A smooth coat of primer shows up every tiny scratch or imperfection you missed in sanding.
Ah, the moment of truth.
Exactly. And three, color uniformity. It gives you a consistent base color, which is vital if you're spraying something bright like yellow or red over dark plastic. Make those colors pop. To me, a fine surface primer is excellent stuff.
Good tip. Then after the color coats, we protect it all with a clear coat. And there's a rule here, right? Something about layering.
Yes. The golden rule of layering. Generally, you put colder paints Those with milder solvents over hotter cured paints, not the other way around usually.
Colder over hotter. Okay.
Because the aggressive solvents in hotter paints, like lacquers, can attack and wrinkle paints with milder solvents, like Tamea's XXF acrylics, if the acrylic isn't fully cured.
Ah, so that's the big warning you hear, putting Tamiya TS lacquer clear over their XF acrylics.
Precisely. Tamiya themselves say it's incompatible. The lacquer solvent is too strong for the standard acrylic binder. It'll likely bubble or wrinkle it up. It's a classic mistake.
Is there any way around that?
There is an advanced technique, but it requires care. First, the acrylic must be fully cured. 24, maybe even 48 hours minimum. Then, apply the lacquer clear in super light, almost dry mist coats first. Build up a barrier slowly before attempting a wetter coat. And always, always test on a scrap piece first.
Okay, proceed with caution there. But let's get back to the original problem, that white spot. Assuming we did everything right with off-sprue prep, it shouldn't exist. But what if we need to fix a spot or a scratch? How do we make it invisible?
Right. The temptation is just to dab a blob of matching paint on it, don't you? It creates a raised bump, different texture, different sheen. It just swaps one visible flaw for another.
So what's the pro method?
It's basically a miniature version of the full paint process. First, meticulously prep the spot itself. Set it perfectly smooth and flush with the surrounding area. Then spot prime, just the tiny area of exposed plastic or filler. Use a very fine brush. Let it dry.
Okay.
Now, apply your color coat, again with a fine brush, but in multiple super thin layers. Let each layer dry. Thin the paint a bit if needed. Build it up slowly. And here's the key. Feather the edges. Blend the new paint subtly into the old paint around the repair. No hard lines.
Feathering, like thinning it out at the edges.
Exactly. Make the transition gradual. Then, the final step is a unifying clear coat over the entire part. That seals the repair and makes the different layers blend optically. It basically disappears.
So it's less about covering a mistake and more about integrating the repair seamlessly.
Perfectly put. You're making it part of the original finish.
Wow. You know, this whole deep dive, starting from just wanting to fix that annoying white spot, really opens up a bigger perspective. It shows how much scale modeling is about patience, careful prep, and understanding the process layer by layer. It's almost an art form.
It really is. And that's the transformation, isn't it? Moving from just assembling parts to truly crafting something, prioritizing the quality of the finish, understanding why each step matters, instead of just looking for shortcuts. That perfect finish on your Tamiya model, it's not just paint. It's really a testament to your dedication, your patience, and your understanding of the craft itself.